You know what? I could use a bit more Kirby on my couch. I don't think there's enough. Not bad. Whoa, now we're talking. Shoot, that's it right there. Yes, my boys. What's going on, guys? This is Trent from Trentfluence, and today, I'm talking about a topic called losing yourself, but also we're making hot dogs, Chicago style, glizzies. I'm the glizzy gobbler today. But yeah, hope you enjoy the topic along with me making some delicious hot dogs in the background. And yeah, have a good one. What's going on, guys? This is Trent from Trentfluence, and today I want to talk about a topic called losing yourself. And so, where I got this idea from is that there are points in my life, especially in my life, where like we lose ourselves in our own identity, and it could be affected by like turning a certain age or going through a physically or mentally altering condition, breakup, or even simply in pursuit of trying to be better. We could end up losing who we are because of that. So to follow up on that last example, right? Trying losing yourself by trying to be better. So we can easily like get obsessed with any pursuit in life, but trying to be better is definitely one of those things where even though it's technically healthy to want to be better, it can still become an obsession. Like name any villain where they're either like a business tycoon that has a family where he's super successful and has a name for himself in the world, but he never sees his family and is super strict all the time. Or a scientist or evil magician that has finally obsessively made the world's strongest, I don't know, BBL potion. But as a result of that obsession, he's left behind his family, his friends, and everybody he cared about, and has nothing left. And a lot of times you see these villains painted in a light where they are happy or they've achieved their goal, but at what cost? Then they just forget and who they were. End up either spiraling into despair and become like a terrible villain, or end up after a long course of the movie getting reminded by the people that once cared about them who they were and slowly coming back to that while also being able to hopefully maintain their success. And so that's very much a thing in real life and very much a thing that's happened to me quite a bit. It's happened in multiple periods of my life. And I wanted to share how that happens. And not just in the self improvement way, but also in the other ways I mentioned earlier. So let me give more context to this topic by talking about how I lost myself trying to be better. Hell, even while making these videos, there have been times that I've struggled to really maintain my own image and identity of myself because I've tried to improve so much to make myself more palatable for others and try to eliminate bad habits. Like I've eliminated quite a bit. Like definitely, I started off this channel by eliminating the masturbation and porn addiction, and that's still one of those like struggles where it's like, damn, temptations are always there. That's point blank period. But there are also situations where, for example, I'm very much known as a person who is I'm very bubbly, very energetic, very SpongeBob esque, right? Like I'm ready, like to run up to people and say hi to everybody. And I just enjoy being a happy person. I really do. And it gets lonely when like you figure out that sometimes your energy can drive people away because you're too much for them. And that sucks. That was a big blow to me and my ego. And I recognize, well, it may or may not be true, but I recognize that may be why, because I've always struggled with, how my video that got the most views on this channel is called Being Alone versus Being Lonely. I've always struggled with loneliness and being accepted and having people choose me. And I thought that for the longest time, since I've discovered that, okay, maybe just use a little less energy and save the energy for yourself, which is a good thing. Good start. Conceptually awesome, yes. But it's life's trial and error. You're never going to have the answer. But in my case, it was figuring out how much of myself to give without fundamentally changing who I am. And that's led to a lot of confusion. Like I want people to, like, humans are social creatures, and I'm no exception. Like, even though I live alone, I have my own stuff and whatnot. Like, I still want people to accept me. I still want people to reach out to me. I still want people to love me. I still want the things any human wants. And as a result of that, you kind of have to tailor yourself to be able to navigate like social structures, which that's one thing I still definitely need to work on. Because while yes, me in my own bubble, I can do whatever the hell I want, be whoever the hell I want. But people don't think the same. People are not the same. And you have to find a middle ground with people. But in my case, I didn't try to find a middle ground. I tried to make sure that, like, I myself was the sole person responsible for making the changes to make everything better. There has to be a give and take. But long story short, as a result, I lost myself quite a bit and spiraled. And it was one of those things where it just got very depressing. I got confused at how to interact, even simple interactions. I got so confused and probably rubbed people off the wrong way. Giggity. Not in that way. But just got confused how to navigate social structures. And it took, and it's still a work in progress. Socializing is hard. But having people in your life that still value you can remind you of, like, how you are and who you are as a person, while also, and not even just people. Like, of course, ideally, we want to think to ourselves and self-reflect of who we are, which that's something that I've been doing. Remembering that, like, yes, I have been, there's nothing inherently wrong with me as far as, like, the person that I am and want to be. I'm a positive person. I like to treat people well, make people happy, and also be happy in turn. And that's just who I am. And those affirmations help. But sometimes when we lose our way, it's not as easy as being able to just remember them, because when we forget ourselves, like, we forgot. And we're just lost, kind of wandering. So I've had people, and it was a really weird question to ask, but I've done this before, and it has been helpful. And maybe you can use this strategy too, if you're listening, and maybe find it's weird. So I asked people, what do you remember about me? What do you know about me that struck you positively? I mean, even negatively, hell. And sometimes they'll be able to give you the answer of who you are and can just kind of like initiate that reminder of, like, you know what? Yeah, that's right. They did. They remember this time where I did this for them and that was awesome. And I'm like, yeah. And you remember who you were in that moment. And it's like, that's who I am. Or even like, that's who I am. Maybe, I could fix this or that, do a little list of this or that. But inherently, like, they remember me fondly, and that's just who I am. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally, because it kind of helps you get back on track. That's what friends and people you care for in your life are for. They're kind of there to be there to benefit your life, and not in a always a transactional way, just like, just showing that they care. So with that being said, this could go on for a while. But if you have a situation in your life that causes you to lose yourself, whether it's like DJ Khaled suffering from success, trying to be better, or you're going through something mentally or physically that debilitates you and causes you to feel shitty about yourself and you start to spiral, or hell, even if you got betrayed, like a breakup, hell, anything can happen, alter your mindset to the point where you feel like you no longer feel like yourself anymore. And while it may not be the end all be all answer, eventually you're going to have to self-reflect and find a way to get back to who you were. Because it's usually 9 times out of 10, accepting the shitty thoughts you have about yourself is not going to end well. And me firsthand, having dealt with several attempts at taking my own life in the past, may have been very long in the past, but it's happened. Letting yourself spiral like that is never a good thing. So the best advice I can give, if nothing else in this video has helped you, at least for me, is to start developing some discipline into figuring out who you are, who you want to be, and reflecting on that. And by all means, if you have people that care about you in your life, or you know people in your life that have known you for a long time, please reach out to them. And I will always, always advocate for, if it's an option for you, to seek professional help. Because I'm no licensed therapist. I'm just somebody who's navigating life, who's figured out a few things here and there, but it's still actively working on the process. So take my words with a grain of salt, but hopefully my words still meant something to you or related in a way where you're able to find out, you know what? I've dealt with something like this too, or I'm dealing with something like this too. Let me start trying to find a way to be better. Because that's the whole point of my videos, is to acknowledge that things like this happen to people. You're not alone, and that you can get better. But with that being said, I've talked long enough. This has been Trent from Trentfluence. Thanks so much for watching the video, and have a good one. Peace.